Hi friends, and welcome back to All About Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today we're going to look at the lovely Calm collection from Zoya and figure out if there are any dupes or just kind of how close these 6 polishes are to the polishes that are already in Zoya's collection. If you haven't seen my live swatch and review yet, I will link it up here in the cards, but let's dive into looking at some comparisons. Alright, so first up we're going to look at Leaf, which is right over here. I'm going to look at it compared to Ireland, Neely, Tiana, and Sage. This is one of their satin polishes, but you know, you can throw a top coat on this and it's plain old glossy just like everything else. So I'm gonna swatch these. I'm not gonna swatch Tiana because Tiana looks pretty different. I think you can see it's much kind of a brighter green than Ireland. It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty different. So I'm not gonna swatch Tiana, but I did want to throw it in here just so you could see it. But we will swatch Leaf next to Ireland, Tiana, and Sage. Alright, so if you didn't know, the way that I film these videos is I film the live swatches first, obviously, so that I can see how they compare, and then I kind of pull it up on my computer here next to me so that I can make sure that I'm comparing these as accurately as possible. I think that the one that's closest is surprising to me. I expected it to be Ireland, but Ireland is significantly darker and more kind of like khaki looking, whereas I would actually say that Neely is probably the closest to Leaf. I do think that Neely is a bit brighter. It's not quite as muted out, so they're probably the closest to me. Again, I thought it was going to be Ireland. Sage, again, is also a lot darker. It's not as, you know, kind of green and yellow merged as Ireland is. It is a bit more just like that kind of dusty, almost like a dusty teal, like it has a little bit of blue in it, but these two I would say are the closest. I don't think they're dupes by any means, and I think you can totally justify having both of them in your collection if you're a green wearer. I love wearing Neely in the spring. I love, 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 love it, and so I'm really happy to have another green that I can wear in the spring. I mean, I wear green all year long, but I'm really happy to have this one. So I don't think there's any dupes here, but I do think that these two are the closest. All right, friends, here is Emerson. This is one that I was really excited to compare. I'm going to compare it to Miley, which I wouldn't have included originally in this comparison, but a couple people asked me about it. I think Miley is just so jelly and sheer on the nails that it's not going to be, you know, super close to Emerson, but in the bottle I can see it. It's like blue with a little bit of purple, so I am going to throw this one in here just so you can see it. And then this one, of course, is Blue, which is Zoya's kind of original classic light blue. And then we have Kristen, which is a little bit more of like gray blue. And then this is Eleni, which came out recently. So I'm throwing this in here, but it's definitely not close. Eleni has a lot more of that, you know, like bright kind of like cotton candy blue, whereas Emerson is this like almost periwinkle blue. So I think I'm not going to include this one in a live swatch because you can see how different they are. Alright, so I personally feel like Emerson is super different. I don't think it's very close to any of these. I really like it. I like how white it is, how it has that just like drop of purple in here, but I love blues, so I like almost any blue that's ever been made, pretty much. But I definitely think Emerson is pretty unique. So let me know down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. This one was a little bit harder, but I do think that Emerson is pretty unique in Zoya's collection, and I've had a couple people ask me about comparisons between this one and some other brands like Kale Polish St. Clair. I've done those in my Instagram stories. I don't like to include other brands in this video just because I want to make sure that we're, you know, keeping it within polishes that are still available, but I did pop this one up in my stories compared to St. Clair, so feel free to check that out on Instagram if you follow me there. Okay, and here is Laura, and I'm going to compare Laura to Lee, Chantal, and Enza. I think Enza is maybe kind of old, but I just tried to pick some like warmer toned cream polishes, cream like the color cream, also the finish, but in this case the color is more what I'm talking about, and so I tried to pick some more kind of warmer toned ones. Lee came out recently. I want to say this was maybe in the 2018 Jubilee collection, and then Chantal is a little bit more, I think it's gonna be too yellow. Enza's definitely gonna be too yellow, but I just thought I'd throw it in there just to see. Chantal, I think it's gonna be a little bit too yellow because I've swatched this one before and it's much closer to like Cho. It's a little bit more kind of that yellow toned, but I'm excited to see how these compare. Okay, so I think Laura and Lee were honestly closer than I expected. I remember Lee being a little bit more yellow toned, and I thought Laura was gonna be pretty peachy toned, and they're definitely different. Like for sure, when I swatched them, they're not identical, but they're pretty close. Like if you're looking for a nude, this like creamy kind of nude, and you want it to have that warmer undertone, I think either of these would be nice for you. They're both really, really good. I don't know, you know, Lee was a winter collection and Laura's a spring collection. I don't really know that there's a difference for me in terms of what season I would wear these two in, but yeah, I thought they were a little bit more different than I expected, but they're still pretty close to one another. So let me know down below if you are like a connoisseur of these kind of polishes and you're like, no, Walker, they're so different, they're not even close. Let me know. But I thought they were pretty similar. Alright, next up is V, and I have V here, and I'm going to compare it to Trudith, Odette, and Presley. And I pulled all of these because I wasn't quite sure how it would compare to some of the kind of deeper and then a little bit more gray polishes, and I just wanted to see how it fit in. I imagine that Trudith will be the most similar, but let's live swatch and find out. Alright, so I actually feel like V is super different from all of these polishes. It looks very, very similar in the bottle to Trudith. These look extremely similar. Like, I can't handle how similar those look. But when you get them on the nail, you really get a much kind of brighter, warmer purple with Trudith, and with V, you get that really like dusty, deep purple, and it's very different. The warm undertone in Trudith really comes out, and you can see it in the bottle here, but on the nail you really saw that difference. So I found this one to be super unique, which honestly I am really surprised by. I expected it to be very, very similar to some of these other ones, but I feel like it's pretty unique. So next up, we're gonna look at AJ. This is AJ over here. It is the kind of nude with a little bit of sparkle in it. I like this one in the bottle. It's a little too like mannequin hands on my nails. If you saw my live swatch and review, you would agree with me, probably. It does not look great on my skin tone, but I'm gonna compare it to Beth, which is here, Pasha, and then Kira, which of course came out pretty recently in the summer collection in 2019. And then I also have Lauren, which is a new one in my collection. I'm really glad I got it because, oh, don't they look pretty similar? They look very, very similar, so I'm excited to get these two compared. I think Lauren's gonna be a little bit more of a metallic finish, whereas this one's a little bit more of a shimmer, but I'm very excited because in the bottle, they look pretty similar. Alright, so here is AJ over here, and here is Lauren over here. These two were definitely the closest in that live swatch, and they look very similar in the bottle. Like I thought from the beginning, the difference is that Lauren is a little bit more metallic on the nail, and it's a little bit more kind of like pink, like a very muted blush, whereas I would say that AJ is more of like a peachy, kind of like a, you know, tan color, a little bit more like in the tan category. It's not quite as pink and blushy, and then again it does have that shimmer, which you can really see here in the bottle, whereas Lauren has a little bit more of a metallic finish. So are these dupes? Absolutely not. In the bottle, do they look like dupes? Yeah, they're pretty close, but I definitely think that they're different once you get them on the nail. They give a very different effect. Okay, and this is the last one. This is Colleen. I'm gonna compare it to Steph, which is a pretty recent one from Zoya. I'm also gonna compare it to Dot, which of course is one that we all know and hate. Some of us hate this one. And then I'm going to compare it to Joey, which came out last year in the Barefoot collection. So we have some lovely kind of lighter, more like neutrally pinks. These ones aren't like super pink. They're not super pink. They're a little bit more neutrally. So we're going to look at these four. All right, friends, I am literally shook. That's what the kids say these days, right? I am surprised by how close these two were. This is Colleen, this is Steph. Steph definitely pulls a little bit more like neutral, almost like a tan on the nails, whereas Colleen is a little bit more pink. But to be honest, they are really close, like a lot closer than I expected them to be, given, you know, I think in the bottle, Colleen looks quite a bit more pink, and this one, Steph, looks a little bit more like tan, kind of that neutrally shade. So I am shocked by how close these were when I live swatched them. I think these are ones that are probably pretty influenced by skin tone though, and so I think like maybe if you have a darker skin tone, these might pop a little bit differently on you. So of course, you know, all of my comparisons, like take them with a grain of salt. They might look a little bit different on you, but I was surprised by how close these were. So that's could be my pink bias. I don't really love pink polish, so it's a little bit harder for me to tell the differences because I just don't love them. But I do think that these were a lot closer than I expected. Alright, so as expected, I do think that these three are the most unique in this collection. V was kind of surprisingly unique. It felt like really different from Trudith, which I thought it was going to be close to, really different from Odette, which I thought it was going to be close to. Emerson, similarly, is super different from the other blues in Zoya's collection, and so I was really happy with these two. Leaf, I do think is pretty different. It's probably the least different of these three most different, but I really enjoyed this one as well. So yeah, let me know down below which of these you thought was the most unique, which surprised you. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing so that we can sit down and hang out and chat about nail polish again sometime. Awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!